Do you ever have difficulty with modulation? Did you know that there's a simple way to map out all the keys that are within easy reach so that you know what your possibilities are? Hi, I'm John, and in this video, I'm going to show you a simple method for mapping out keys that will help you to navigate more easily and purposefully while you are composing music. Let's start with my experience. When I started out composing, modulation was just something I did instinctively. I knew the circle of fifths, I knew all my key signatures, so I would often do things like transitioning to the parallel minor key if I was in major, or to the dominant key. The problem was precisely that I knew a lot of this instinctively, but I didn't have a system to help me do it more purposefully and to know where I was going, and how to get there. This is where my composition teacher helped me out a lot. She introduced me to a method for mapping out keys that made modulation so much easier, and also helped me to more purposefully plot a course through all the keys I was writing in any of my compositions. Let me first show you this method and then show you how I applied it really well during one of my compositions years ago. The method involves drawing a simple graph with 6 spaces in it. In the top middle space of the graph, write down your home key. If the key is major, use an uppercase letter. If it's minor, use a lowercase letter. We're using C major in this example. Now on this graph, the lower space designates the parallel key, be it major or minor. And since we know that the parallel minor key of C major is A minor, we will fill in that lower space with a lowercase a. Next, the spaces on the right and the left designate keys 1/5 above and 1/5 below the home key in the circle of fifths, respectively. So we can now fill these out pretty easily. The key 1/5 above C major in the circle of fifths is G major. The key 1/5 below C major in the circle of fifths is F major. The parallel minor of G major is E minor. The parallel of F major is D minor. So now we have this all filled out. And now we can see that from any key that you choose, you can go to 5 other keys that are no more than 1 step away in the circle of fifths. You can use this graph to chart your possibilities for any key you like. And if you're going to do this with a minor key, the process is exactly the same, except that all the minor keys are on the top of the graph and all the major keys are on the bottom. Before we proceed to our example, there's one slightly different way of looking at this method that I think we should explore. This may not be immediately apparent, but if you take a closer look at the first graph that we drew and rearrange the notes on it, you'll see that all those notes are really just the degrees of a major scale, minus the leading tone, which in this case is B. So what that tells us is that if you just look at all the scale degrees in your home key, you'll be able to tell immediately what 5 other keys are easily accessible to you in the circle of fifths. And how do you tell whether those keys will be major or minor? Well, all you have to do is see whether the chords that are built on those scale degrees are major or minor. So in this case, the chords built on those scale degrees are D minor, E minor, F major, G major, and A minor. So that shows us immediately that the keys available to us will be C major, D minor, E minor, F major, etc. I think this method for mapping out keys is pretty awesome, and it's very easy to use it if all you plan on doing is to modulate to keys a fifth above your home key or a fifth below your home key. But even if you plan to do something more extreme, all you have to do is build off of this basic method that I just showed you. Now, on to our example. So I have here a piece that I wrote for viola, cello, and piano that I wrote for my friends several years ago. And we'll go through each part of it briefly and see what kind of modulations I went through. To start, let's check the key signature, and we see that we are in D major. So let's draw a graph quickly that shows our available keys. From D major, we also have access to B minor, G major, and E minor, and A major and F sharp minor. Let's run through the piece really quick and touch on the major modulations throughout. I should note that in this piece, I purposely tried to use all the available keys. So let's see whether I succeeded. We start out in D major, and this continues with a couple of transient modulations and chromatic notes until measure 8, where we definitely feel like we have transitioned to E minor, since we are now using a C natural. In measure 10, we start to move to B minor, using an E minor chord as a common chord between the key of E minor and the key of B minor. I go through a couple of transient modulations over the next couple of measures, and end up back in the home key again, D major. And that ends the first part of the piece. In the second part, which begins at measure 23, I abruptly go to F sharp minor briefly, and start moving toward A major in measure 25. In measure 26, I immediately jump into B minor via chromatic modulation, and then immediately into G major in measures 29 through 30. If we stop here and review all the keys I covered, that is all the keys available to me in D major. The methods I used to get to those keys in this piece are beyond the scope of this video, but you should at least hopefully understand the basic concept. So that is the method that I use to to help me navigate keys while I'm composing music. I hope this helped, and if you're more interested in studying the piece that I showed you, you can find a link for it in the description below. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.